The room hummed softly, the machines keeping time the way old clocks used to in my parents' house, steady, indifferent to who was listening. The monitor beside my bed translated my heartbeat into a green line that rose and fell with a quiet patience. I had been watching it for so long that the rhythm felt almost companionable. Hospitals do that. They shrink the world until the smallest sounds begin to matter. When the door opened, I didn't need to look up to know it was my daughter. She carried her presence the same way she always had, quick, purposeful steps, a rustle of paper or fabric, a sense that things were already decided before anyone else had spoken. "Dad," she said, not warmly but efficiently, like a meeting that had finally started. I turned my head slightly. She was holding a folder. Pale gray, neat, clipped shut. The papers again. For weeks she had been bringing them. Each time the explanation changed a little, but the urgency remained the same. "Just sign, Dad. It's easier this way. This protects everyone." From the beginning something in me had resisted, though I hadn't been able to explain why, not clearly enough to argue, not strongly enough to refuse outright, until now. She placed the folder on the small tray beside the bed and flipped it open with practiced hands. The pages inside were flagged with little yellow tabs. "You're stronger today," she said, scanning the monitor briefly. "That's good. We can take care of this." Take care of this. For years I had mistaken that phrase for help. I shifted slightly against the pillow. My body was still weak, but my mind felt strangely clean, like a window after rain. "I'm not signing them," I said. She didn't react immediately. She was still straightening the papers, aligning them carefully on the tray. "You said that last time," she replied. "But the doctor explained why this matters." Her voice carried that same patient firmness she used when I forgot things or moved too slowly. It wasn't cruel. Just controlled. "I remember what the doctor said," I told her, and I still won't sign." She looked at me then, not angry yet. Just calculating. I had seen that look before. Many times, though I hadn't always recognized it. "You don't understand the situation," she said. I almost smiled at that. For years she had handled things for me, forms, accounts, small decisions that gradually became larger ones. Each step had seemed reasonable at the time. I had been grateful. But gratitude can quietly become permission. "I understand enough," I said. Her breath left her in a quick, sharp exhale. "Dad, if something happens and we don't have these documents, then we deal with it when it happens. That's not how responsible people think." The room felt smaller suddenly. She pushed the papers closer to me, sliding a pen across the tray. "Just sign it." I looked at the pen but didn't move. The monitor beside me kept its steady rhythm. Beep, beep, beep. Her composure cracked the way thin ice does, suddenly, without warning. Her hand shot toward the monitor cable and yanked. The cord came loose with a sharp click. The steady beeping stopped. For a second the silence was louder than the machine had ever been. "If you'd just signed the papers," she said, her voice tight and rising, "none of this would have happened." The words hung there between us. Not anger, not fear, something closer to frustration that a plan had failed. And in that moment the past rearranged itself inside my mind. Conversations that had felt harmless. Decisions that had moved too quickly. The quiet pressure I had mistaken for concern. Footsteps sounded in the hallway. Neither of us noticed at first. Then the door opened. The doctor stepped inside. She didn't rush. She simply crossed the room, reconnected the monitor cord with calm, practiced hands, and watched the green line return to life. Beep. 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 Only then did she look at my daughter. "I heard enough from the hallway," she said evenly. My daughter straightened, trying to recover her composure. "Doctor, this is a family discussion." It became a hospital matter when medical equipment was disconnected. The doctor's voice remained steady, but something in the room had already shifted. "You'll need to step back from the bed." My daughter hesitated. "For how long?" she asked. The doctor folded her hands lightly in front of her coat. That depends on the next few minutes. A quiet pause followed. Then the doctor added, almost gently, "You're not going anywhere right now. Security and a patient advocate are already on their way." The color drained from my daughter's face. For the first time since she had walked in, she looked unsure, not frightened exactly, just unprepared. 10 minutes can stretch strangely in a hospital room. No one spoke much. My daughter sat in the chair near the door, her posture rigid, her eyes fixed somewhere on the floor. The folder with the papers remained open on the tray beside me. I studied the ceiling tiles. It was remarkable how ordinary they looked. When the knock came, the doctor opened the door and stepped aside. A patient advocate entered first, followed quietly by a security officer who remained near the hallway. Professional. Calm. Routine. The advocate introduced herself and pulled a chair beside my bed. "Would like to speak with you privately about your care decisions," she said. My daughter started to protest, but the doctor raised a hand. "We'll ask you to wait outside for a few minutes." She looked at me then. Waiting. For the first time in years, the decision was entirely mine. I met my daughter's eyes. There was anger there, but also something else, uncertainty. "Yes," I said quietly. "I'd like that." She stood slowly and walked out without another word. The door closed. The advocate asked me simple questions. Who did I trust to make decisions if I couldn't? Did I feel pressured to sign documents I didn't understand? Would I like help reviewing them later, at my own pace? Each answer came easier than the last. Not because the situation was simple, but because someone had finally asked. When the conversation ended, the room grew quiet again. The monitor continued its patient rhythm. A while later my daughter was allowed back inside. She sat near the door instead of the bed. Neither of us spoke. The folder remained untouched. The distance between us felt unfamiliar. But for the first time in a long while, it didn't feel like something I had to close.